This week on the $1 Million Plan, we talk to Steven. He and his wife are trying to make a career decision and see how it affects their family and retirement and all those sorts of things. Steven, welcome to the program.
Hi, Peter. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem. So one of you is either thinking about a career change or going back to school. Help us understand what's going on and how we can help you today.
All right. So just a little bit about me. I'm a school teacher, and I'm set for being a teacher the rest of my life. My wife, though, actually stayed at home for the past almost 3 years for both of our kids that we've had, and she just recently went back to work. She's a medical assistant right now.
Okay.
And been doing that for about 6 months. Likes the job, but the pay is not really adequate, and she feels like she should earn more money than she's making for what she's doing. So she's trying to decide to go back to nursing school to become an RN.
Well, that's definitely a huge financial commitment. Do you know what the total cost of that would be?
Yeah, we're looking at different school options. We live down in San Antonio, and the community college actually is pretty well known here, and that would definitely be a lot more affordable. That might go for the whole program about $6,000 to $8,000. If we go to a private school route, we're looking at possibly $20,000 to $25,000, and it'll take approximately 2 to 2.5 years to get it done.
Okay, and so your household income right now, as we take a look, is $80,000. How much of that is you, and how much of that is her right now?
I make approximately $60,000, and she makes $20,000.
Okay, so you definitely lose her monthly income when she goes back to school. Who's carrying the health insurance right now?
She is. Yeah, she works for the hospital, so her health insurance is way better than my teacher one, and it's very affordable. It's only, I think, $150 a month for the premium.
If she were to go back to school full time and then get her degree, how does that change her income? She goes from working and part time and making $20,000 to doing what?
Yeah, that's another thing that we're still trying to figure out at this point, because there's a pretty good chance she'd at least go to part time. The health insurance would go up about $100 or $150 more a month, but her income would be less as well because she's working part time. That's what our likely goal is, to essentially do that. Again, we've been living for 3 years before this on just my income, and we actually did pretty well financially with that. We were able to buy a house. We put 10% down on it. We paid off our car loans, and we did all that with just my income.
Wow.
So we're used to living on, the lower income, and that's why I'm trying to get us to be in the same circle of whenever she does go back, to just be ready for that decrease in pay and the increase in health insurance.
So nothing is scary about this. It's really just about planning for a couple years of a different cash flow, right?
Right.
Do you feel like this affects your long-term goals, or is that part of this discussion?
I don't think so. I think it's more of the short term, just being able to, get out of it without taking out, hopefully, any student loan debt, or more likely it might be low $5,000 to $10,000 total student loan, and then she'll be making at least that much extra when she works as a nurse, and then just pay that off in about a year.
Okay.
So yeah, short term is the issue there, I think. Long term, I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
Do you have any major family expenses coming up in the next 5 years or so we need to know about?
Our daycare costs are pretty high because we have a 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. So our daycare is about $800 a month right now.
All right.
And it's going to be even more than that possibly next year if my wife goes back to school.
And so that becomes basically what, a 4 to 5 year factor, 4 to 5 year problem, because once you get your 1.5-year-old to kindergarten, that alleviates some of that financial stress, right?
Right, yeah. My 3.5-year-old will have 1 year of pre-K next year, and then she'll probably be in kindergarten. So
okay.
It'll actually be a little bit less than 2 years.
And then you're 36. How old's your wife?
Yes, 34.
34.
Okay. Tell her she's 29 again, though.
Yeah, no problem. I don't want to get in the middle of that. So from a housing perspective, how long have you been in the house you're in right now?
Almost 2 years now.
All right. So 2 years, you've got a 30-year mortgage. You owe $134,388, and your monthly mortgage payment's $1,042. In relation to what your net monthly income is at $6,000 a month, that's super affordable. What is that, like 16% of your income?
Yeah. I actually did the power percentages previously. It's Yeah, 17% actually,
So
when I count utilities.
what's your power percentage?
Right now we're at 26%,
See, that's great. I mean,
and that's with my wife working the whole time.
at $80,000 a year, that level of power percentage, do you say 26 or 27?
26.
26. That's great. That's really good. Now, I'd be interested to see when her income goes up, the kids get into school. That should take you over 35%.
Yeah, assuming we save most of what the extra is.
So let's take a look at your $1 Million Day. I'm just curious, based on what you're doing now, you've got $40,000 in your Roth IRA. You contribute about $500 a month. No other retirement funds right now?
Well, I get a teacher pension, so that we're putting in $400 a month into the teacher pension, and the way that works is I get 2.3% times the number of years that I work.
Okay.
And I've already have 10 years in there. I plan on doing probably 25 to 30 more, which will pay a pretty substantial amount when I retire. It'll be anywhere between 70 to 80% of whatever I'm making in the end of teaching.
Your $1 Million Day right now, absent that amount, is May 1st, May Day of 2045. So here's what I know from what you've already told me. The second your wife goes and gets her degree, gets reemployed, daycare costs go away, there's very little reason that 2045 number can't come down 10 years, you know? And I think it would. You're also scheduled at age 63, which you targeted as a retirement age, to have $915,058 if you keep doing exactly what you're doing right now. That's $915,000, and then your net monthly income after tax, of course, is $2,100 a month. But it would feel like $1,096 a month in today's dollars. Now, what's interesting about your situation, Stephen, is that your pension will become the core retirement income source, which is unlike most other people.
Yeah, that's what I'm aware of. That's one of the, I think, main benefits for being a teacher, I think.
So you're in Texas. How is the teacher's state pension in Texas doing? Do you have reason to believe it's healthy or unhealthy, or do you know?
I think it's actually pretty healthy compared to other states. I know in I think Wisconsin or Indiana, somewhere over there, they're having some trouble in theirs, but it's very secure as it is right now. They did recently increase how much we have to contribute slightly. It was about 0.5% extra, but it seems like as of now, there's every indication that it should be what they're promising.
And from what I understand, you chose the survivor benefit, so you would get 75% of your income, and then in the event of your passing, then your wife would also get that amount until the event of her passing, right?
Correct.
That's pretty nice. Now, how are you looking short term financially? How much do you have in savings? I think $3,000 is what I saw in your emergency fund.
Yeah. When my wife went back to work 6 months ago, we owed about $4,000 in her car.
Okay.
And we just decided we're just gonna throw everything we can into that. So we paid that whole car off a month ago.
How much did that free up for you?
Our mortgage, car loan was about $350 a month.
Did I see somewhere that you have $1,000 a month to do something with right now? Is that right?
Yeah, currently.
What are you doing with it?
I'm just putting in savings right now. So the last 6 months, we're putting about an extra $1,000 into the car in addition to the loan.
Okay.
So pay that off faster. And the last few months, I've just been putting it in savings. That's another thing where I'm trying to be a bit more flexible in case my wife, when she does go back to school, just to have a little bit more in the savings part.
Where's your stress level at financially right now? I got to think it's like a 3 or a 4 because it seems pretty low.
Yeah. Right now, it's probably a 3. When my wife goes back to work, it's probably going to be a little bit higher because, I'll be not used to, like, the less income. But
Sure.
As of now, we're very good.
You have no other really consumer debt, right? I mean, the car's paid off. You've got no student loans, no credit card debt. You're taking your time in that 30-year. Do you think you'll stay in that house for the foreseeable future, or do you think it's a transitional home?
Hard to say. I would say we're staying there at least 5 more years. And we wouldn't even think about moving until my wife's a nurse and making quite a bit more than she is now. It's hard to say on that one.
Have you been to the Alamo? Isn't that in San Antonio?
Yeah. I've been there a few times.
I travel for a living. Like, I go everywhere. I've never been to San Antonio. I don't know how that's possible. It's like the convention mecca of the South. How have I never been to San Antonio?
It's nice. The weather's good now, but it'll be 110 in a few weeks.
And that's why I haven't
days.
been to San Antonio. What do you got life insurance-wise going on?
About right when I got married 6 years ago, I got a 30-year term for it was $400,000 policy. So I still have another about 25 years left on that. My wife did the same things. I think we gave her a 20-year term, and it was about $300,000 policy there.
So that's pretty close. I would say you're a tad underinsured, but I don't think I'd lose sleep over it, and I wouldn't throw a bunch of money at it. Can you increase your supplemental coverage through the school or not?
The school offers 1 year's salary as well as I'm working here.
Okay.
So that'll be an extra $60,000.
What do you What do you teach?
High school science.
Oh my gosh, I was terrible in high school science. Could you tell just by talking to me?
Oh, you're a number guy though. So
I know, but it's like
calculations.
And here's the crazy part. All my friends from college are like PhDs in microbiology and like all this stuff. So I don't even know how we hold conversations because I took geology with part of my liberal arts degree just because I could memorize rock names.
Yeah.
And then I took physics for some reason, and I got a D in freshman college physics. So that's not good. What kind of science are we talking? Like biology, chemistry, physics? What are you teaching?
I taught a bunch of everything. Right now I'm teaching chemistry and forensic science. So looking at crimes and solving.
Oh my gosh, I think kids would be interested in that.
Yeah. We do a lot of labs, a lot of hands-on activities.
You know, I just realized when I was in high school, there was no forensic science because the technology wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
That's
DNA has been increasing dramatically, and we're using DNA tests on pretty much everything for forensics now.
So I'm looking for holes in your armor here. I'm looking for like what I don't like about things. How about saving for your kids a college education? Where have you prioritized that?
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. Well, my goal was to try to put as much as we can in a Roth IRA, and then when college comes in, we could just take out our contributions to possibly pay for that and hopefully cash flow it at that point. It's something I'm considering, but I think just trying to max out both me and my wife's Roth IRA would be preferable.
Yeah, I don't mind that idea, right? Because a Roth IRA can be used for college, it can be used for your retirement. But the challenge with that is, as it stands now, with no other contributions, you're short of $1 million by the time you retire in retirement assets. So to drag any of that down would bother me a little bit. I think the biggest issue here is you're totally in a good issue. You're under control. You're making good decisions. You need to make this good decision with college for your wife to go back and get the degree. And then your life changes a little bit in the next 2 to 4 years. And it's just that adjustment that A, increases your power percentage, and B, brings your $1 million day forward. So as long as you don't go off the deep end, I think by the time you are 40, oh my gosh, by the time you are 40, I think everything looks really good. And you've got like 23 years left to teach at that point.
Yeah.
How about go ahead.
A few general questions about that, the $1 million plan. I know for most people that don't necessarily have the pension that I do, and they're only getting Social Security in addition to it, are you recommending about 4% withdrawal rate on those?
Yeah, it's a great question. Let me mansplain that to those people listening. In retirement, you take a distribution rate off of your investments, and the distribution rate is the rate of which you can safely take out without the investments completely depleting. Now, when I figured your number, I did it at 3.5%. I can do it at 4%. That takes you, instead of $10.96 a month, to $12.52 a month in inflation-adjusted net income. But I'll have to say, I don't feel good about 4% over the long term right now based on what interest rates are in our country. So I like to show 3.5%.
That's fine.
What are you a 4%er guy?
I guess so. It may not even be necessary, ideally, because if I'm getting 3/4 of my pay the rest of my life after the pension, I probably won't even need to take out that much, and whatever the Roth IRAs are.
Yeah, I think the challenge is going to be this. You're talking about retiring at 63. You, of course, could take Social Security as it stands now at 62 and take the reduction, the reduced benefit at 25% of your regular benefit. But I'll be honest, who knows what Social Security is going to look like 30 years from now, dude? Like, we have no clue.
We're not actually Here's an interesting one. I won't actually get Social Security, or I get a really really small amount.
Oh, because the teacher's pension.
Yeah, the teacher pension. I'm not actually funding Social Security. Besides anything I might do in like a side business or whatnot.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? Okay, so that means so it's funny, as we first started talking, I'm like, oh, here's a guy with 3 sources of retirement income: Social Security, pension, and whatever he generates off of his investments at 3.5 to 4%. But it turns out you don't have your Social Security, but you'd have your wife's Social Security, right?
Right. Yeah, she would get it.
Interesting. So, well, I guess you don't know where she's going to work post degree. So I was going to say, well, what's their retirement policy? But how would we even know? Because that job doesn't exist right now for her.
Yeah.
What else? Do you guys have a will or trust? What sort of final documentation do you have?
We just have a basic will about where the money would go and where our kids would be. I haven't thought about trusts yet.
Yeah. So are you going to try to cash flow college then, it sounds like? It doesn't sound like if you had to take out a loan, it would be pretty small and you could pay it off pretty quick. It sounds like based on saving $1,000 a month and getting ready for this, you could handle it.
Yeah. I think that's what the goal is, because I don't like student loans. I don't like any type of debt, honestly. So I would try to cash flow it
out. How would you describe, okay, so this is a completely subjective question. If 10 is a perfect lifestyle, and whatever that means to you, and 1 is a bad lifestyle, where do you put your lifestyle in San Antonio, Texas, on $80,000 a year? Where are you on that 1 to 10 scale, with 10 being perfect and 1 being terrible?
Oof. It's very good. I mean, I lived in San Antonio and Austin area for about 10 years now. It's probably around 8 or 9.
Okay.
The weather is a bit ridiculous in the summer. I won't lie about that.
Sure. But in terms of your financial lifestyle, you're saying you can live on $80,000 a year, have the finances that we've just discussed in San Antonio, Texas, to the level of 8 or 9 on sort of the lifestyle / comfort scale.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know what? You know what's crazy about that? Do you feel like, okay, don't get pissed here. Do you feel like you have low standards? Because, and I'm not disagreeing with you, I just think most people I talk to around the country, to make $80,000 in a market that size, a city that size, there's no way most people would describe their lifestyle as an 8 or a 9, which doesn't make you wrong. I think it actually makes you level-headed and right. You're comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah, I agree. I grew up in New York. Quite a few of my friends are teachers in New York too, and they make a little bit more than me, but
sure.
Everything costs almost double what we're making now. So I think it's all relative about the city you live in and just the expenses. I mean, we're able to get a nice 3-bedroom apartment, 3-bedroom house for almost $1,000 mortgage. So
yeah.
It's pretty affordable. While my friends in New York, they might pay double or triple that for the same thing.
What kind of cars do you have? I'm just curious. I have a guess, but I'm just curious as to what they are.
I got a 2008 Corolla.
Okay, I knew that was coming.
I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm 6'5". My 3-year-old is starting to kick the seat a little bit, so that's an eventual redo. But when I bought that car, I wanted to keep it till the wheels fall off.
Sure. And what's the other one? A minivan?
My wife has a Hyundai Sonata 2012.
Okay.
And we just paid that one off.
See,
that car we're going to keep for a while. The Corolla eventually will be moved. We're looking at the typical SUVs, the Pilots or Highlanders, and probably a 3 or 4-year-old one.
You know, tall guys like you and me, you know, that register about 6'5", you get a lot of comments about your height.
Yeah, it's like I'm driving in my clown car because I could barely fit in it.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I don't have any payment. I'm pretty happy with that.
So my wife is pretty petite. She's like 4'10", and people make comments about her height all the time, and it annoys her. I'm the average man. I'm like 5'9.5". You're 6'5", so you've got to get annoying comments all the time. You probably don't care though.
Nah, it doesn't matter to me.
You don't do the old, hey, how's the weather up there? And then you spit on them and say, raining. You don't do that?
Yeah. It's like I find out the weather first at least.
Oh, that's true. You know what? I like this a lot. It's totally under control. And when I say you're comfortable in your own skin, you're confident. I trust your decisions. Look, I give you a 9 out of 10. And the only reason I'll give you a 10 out of 10 is, frankly, because despite the fact that you have a pension, you're not going to have Social Security. There's nothing you can do about it. But I really like your situation. What other questions can I answer?
Can't really think of much else. Any possible thoughts on where to get funding for school. We did do the FAFSA, and it's likely we'll get a Pell Grant. I think
That's
it
nice.
covers $3,000 a semester or something.
Yeah, that's better than
Do
a
you have
kick
any
in the
other
pants.
ideas on other ideas on what to pay for the colleges?
You know, I would look at the school that she's going to and look if there are particular scholarships for that that school, that field of study. A lot of times there's like job changer or continue education scholarships that exist. But once you run the FAFSA or you know, submit to the FAFSA and then you get your Pell Grant, it's really the best you can hope for. There's not a lot of other free money out there other than if for some reason her current employer offers education reimbursement, which I'm guessing if they did, you'd already know that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
No.
Also, we're doing mostly Roth IRA, and my wife has a Roth 401k. We just like the flexibility of later on not paying the tax on it.
Sure.
At least, hopefully. Is that still recommended? I mean, we don't pay much in income tax in the end because we have so many deductions.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. I think someone your age, a Roth vehicle makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to say this. I think it's the first time I've said it on this show, and this is not an alarming comment, but I think our tax structure in this country is going to change a lot in the next 20 years. It's just a gut feeling, and part of that makes me think the tax benefits or tax structure of a Roth will be affected by that, but that doesn't mean you should do anything different because all you can do is act on the information you have, and based on the information you have, you're doing it exactly right. But I think there's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of Roth IRA account holders in the next 20 years or so.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we need tax revenue in this country, we're talking about huge tax cuts right now. I know the president just announced his tax plan, and you still need tax revenue, and a way to do that is to tax retirement accounts differently. President Obama almost did that with 529 accounts the last couple of years, was to take away the tax benefits there. So it's not that far of a stretch to say Roth could be on the chopping block in the next couple of decades, but that's neither here nor there. All right, anything else?
No, I think that's everything. It's been very helpful.
Oh, good. Well, you've done a great job. A 26% power percentage on $80,000 a year is fantastic, and I'd like to see your $1 million day move up, but I know it will when your wife is back working. It's called your wife, your job. That was Freudian, I think. Yeah. When your wife gets her job after school. So great job, Stephen. Best of luck, and keep us posted on all the changes going forward.
All right, thank you very much, Pete.
No, my pleasure. All right, so that's it for this week's $1 million plan. If you want to be on the show, be on the show. We're recording a lot of new episodes right now. Our studio is completely upgraded. We got the huge interview desk. So when you see PeteThePlanner.tv, when we have in-studio guests, they're not sitting off in the corner looking like they're being punished. I think you will enjoy their newfound chair height. So that's it for this week. Figure out your power percentage. Go to PeteThePlanner.com/power-percentage. Find out your power percentage. If you can do a 26% on $80,000 a year, it's fantastic. We want you to be above 35% by the time you retire. We can help you with that. I'm Pete the Planner. See you next time.
This is where I came from. Planet Lovetron, where we drop love bombs, funk missiles, and live in soul shelters. No helter skelter. The heat don't swelter because everybody stays cool. Left many moons ago to bring the philosophies of my ancestors to another place, God. Picked the third rock, gave me to my earth family, and told me to create, and so I am. Pen in my hand, microphone on the stand. Over vinyl, I command and demand. Magnificence in an instance, I can make you dance, cry, or love. Fly as a dove, released from Everest. The fresh is fresh, and you can call me E.T. Word to John Tesh. Let me bless this harmonic presentation. It's amazing, so amazing. I'm the reason. Salutations, I bring you Lovetron greetings from a faraway land. I am the soul controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Lovetron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it? The tinkling of the keys is an homage to the little star. I sojourn over poetic descriptions of sound and travel to my other world. Out of this world, spaceship on my arm. took me home, fueled by the ink and the megabytes and the hypertext transfer protocol, stronger than the Skynet and the Terminator. I push faders into warp speed, glide with ease, creating a breeze they call a black hole. Event horizon, no rear view concerns. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. Salutations, I bring you Lovetron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Lovetron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it?